Hi, today I'm here to answer the question, what is the coloring bet? We're going to cover what the coloring bet is, why I created the coloring bet, and what you can expect from the 21-day challenge. First up, what is the coloring bet? The coloring bet is a 21-day challenge where you will learn everything you need to know to guide yourself through a color mending therapy session. Color mending therapy is a two-step process. The first process is taking how you're feeling and coloring it out onto a piece of paper using any shape and color that you want. This step is called intuitive coloring. And the second step is taking the color mending color and shapes charts to interpret what the coloring is about. Colors represent emotions and shapes represent what the emotion is about. The color mending process teaches you three skills that will help you be able to self-regulate so much easier. The first skill is that you will learn how different emotions feel in your body, which will make it much easier for you to accurately label the emotions that you're feeling the next time they come up. The second skill that you're going to learn is color mending will help teach you the language you need to express to other people how you're feeling internally or what's going on in your internal world. Skill number three is it's going to help you identify your mental models. Mental models are our beliefs about how the world works and what we believe our role in the world is. When we are able to identify mental models with coloring, we're able to see if it's a mental model that we need to update or we need to change. At the end of 21 days, you're going to have a solid start of building these three skills, and you'll have the knowledge of how to use color mending therapy to help build an even stronger foundation for each of these skills. So why did I create the coloring bet? I created the coloring bet after teaching 250 people over the past 6 years how to guide themselves through color mending therapy sessions. I took all of their frequently asked questions, their pain points, their requests, and created this program. Every part of this challenge was thoughtfully and intentionally designed, specifically based off of what I learned from these 250 people. The Coloring Bet is a self-led program, and I specifically decided to make it a self-led program just based off of my experience learning to self-regulate as an adult. For about 4 years, I truly thought that the only way that I could regulate, feel balanced, and feel complete and whole as a person was if I worked with another person who could make sense of my internal world and then tell me what actions I needed to take to feel better. So while you and I will have two meetings during the 21-day challenge, you will primarily be working through each of these challenges on your own. You might be asking yourself, when does the 21 days begin? The challenge will start for you when you receive the physical kit. These kits typically arrive a few business days after you place your order. The color mending team is going to monitor the tracking number, so whenever we have confirmation that it is delivered, that's when your coloring bet will begin. This is what you'll receive in your physical kit. The first thing you'll notice is your 21-day checklist. This 21-day checklist is going to have you walk through to make sure that you have received or have links to all of the items you're going to need to complete the challenge successfully. It's also going to have you schedule your two meetings with me. The first meeting is a Color Me Psychic session. Color Me Psychic sessions are one of my favorite things that I offer. We'll get into them a little bit later, but just know for now, they're miniature one-on-one coloring sessions with me. Your Color Me Psychic session can take place in week 2 or week 3 based on your availability and mine. The second meeting you're going to schedule is your Coloring Bet debrief. This can take place on day 21 of your challenge or up to 7 days afterwards, depending on your availability and mine. If you can't find a time that works for you, please email the color mending team and we'll be able to find something that works for us. Plan to set aside about 20 minutes to go through all of the resources and get oriented with your coloring bet kit. For week number 1, your challenge is to go through the Color Your Emotions Intuitive Coloring Activity Book. There are 5 activities in this book, so you're not going to be completing something every day. We recommend that you set aside about 15 to 20 minutes for 5 days on week 1 to work through this book. Each day you'll have a mini lesson about how our brains construct emotions and a little activity to help build your intuitive coloring skills. Week number 2. First thing you'll see in the week number 2 packet is a Color Me Psychic prep sheet. Color Me Psychic is a fun YouTube series that I have based off of 90s psychic hotlines. It is anonymous, so while you'll be calling in and having a question, no one's going to see your name or your face. There are several examples on the Color Mending YouTube channel if you want to go ahead and check it out and get a little clearer picture of what you can experience. Essentially, for the Color Me Psychic worksheet, you're going to pick out a question that you want to explore with me during your session. It's going to have you do a body scan and describe the emotions that you feel during that body scan. And then it's going to remind you to gather your coloring supplies before you hop on to the call. Again, this Color Me Psychic session can either happen on week 2 or week 3 of your coloring bet challenge. Plan on setting aside about 45 minutes to an hour to complete not only the worksheet, but to go through the session with me. Another challenge for you for week 2 is to read the Color Mending Therapy step-by-step guide. This step-by-step guide will teach you how to guide yourself through a color mending session and how to use the color and shapes charts to interpret your colorings. Plan on setting aside about 30 minutes to read through that book. Also during week 2, you're going to pick 3 separate days to guide yourself through a color mending session. These are worksheets that will help guide you through each of those sessions. You'll select what you want to color about, guide yourself through a body scan, color at least one page, you can color more if you want, and use the color and shapes charts in the Color Mending Therapy step-by-step guide to interpret your colorings. You are then required at the end of each coloring session and on the day that you complete the coloring session to fill out a survey. There is a QR code at the end of each of the documents that links to the survey. The QR codes are also on your 21-day checklist. This survey requires you to upload a picture of your coloring and will guide you through questions to help make sense of what your coloring is trying to bring to your attention. For these coloring sessions, plan on spending about 15 minutes coloring and about 15 to 20 minutes completing the survey. Week number 3 is 3 more coloring sessions. So these are going to be the same exact process that you will guide yourself through in week number 2, but you're going to do 3 more sessions for week 3. Again, they all need to be on separate days. You need to complete the survey on the day that you do the coloring session, and you need to color at least one coloring page. You can color more if you'd like. Plan to spend about 15 minutes doing the coloring portion and 20 minutes for the survey. The last thing that you're going to need to do on the coloring bet is to have your one-on-one meeting with me. Not only do I love hearing about your experience going through the coloring bet process, getting all your feedback, the high points, the low points, it's also a time for us to celebrate your growth and progress over the short amount of time. This is also where we'll talk about if you've hit all of the requirements to get your money back. And if you do hit all the requirements, if you'd like to get a refund or to use that money to continue exploring color mending therapy and building your self-regulation skills. If you don't complete all the challenges in the 21 days, you still get to keep everything, you just won't get a chance for a refund. If you have any other questions about the coloring bet, you can DM the color mending team on any of our social channels or send us an email at hello@colormending.com. We cannot wait to work with you and to see your experience of the coloring bet. Happy coloring!